Sun City.
Sun City streaming local news starts now.
We take a look at the local real estate market. The Foundation's screening vehicle visits the farmers markets, and Sun City sits down with Webster. Welcome to Sun City Local News. I'm Caitlyn Morgan. It's great to be with you. Mildura's real estate market has been booming in recent years, and this week, Sun City News spoke with a local agent to see what is happening now.
Well, you probably don't need me to tell you that the real estate market in Mildura and Sunraysia is booming, and prices have been rising for many years now. But let's talk to somebody who really knows the market. That's Damien Portaro from Ray White Mildura. Well, Damien, great to be with you today, and thanks for your time. So what is the current state of the real estate market in Mildura?
Inconsistent is probably the word at the moment. The market moved substantially last year, right, but not across all price segments. So very heavily investor focused. That's now shifted a bit. So we're finding that those investors are leaving us, if not left already. So there is a shift back to some normality now.
And who are the majority of the buyers? Are they locals? Are they from interstate, overseas?
So it has been, basically between $300,000 and $630,000, right? From January to December all of last year, it was led by investors, all out of town investors. Majority was sight unseen, and we're talking anywhere from Melbourne, Perth, Sydney. It didn't matter. Queensland, all across Australia, flooded back into our market. Very price specific though, which was very unusual. It's not something we normally see here, John. I think if a market moves, you tend to think of it as a whole, especially in an area like regional Victoria, not just segmented into this price range. Yeah.
And so do they actually come on the ground to have a look at the property or buy it off the web?
So rare. And again, we've never seen it or experienced like this. A lot of them use buyers advocates or buyers agents to help. And a lot of it was done through photos, walkthrough videos, 360 tours. And at the end of it, all they wanted was, an iPhone walking through. That was it. So extraordinary. Yeah.
I think you did mention the median price before, but what are we looking at in residential properties in Mildura?
Well, we're looking a bit over 400,000 as a whole. Houses, around the 500 mark, and units a bit over 300,000. But overall, it's around a bit over 400, 430,000, something like that if you take it as a whole. Hence the attraction for investors.
Yeah, of course, it's still very good value, isn't it, comparative to a metro?
Well, that's what happened, right? So metro, so expensive. Again, all the capital cities expensive, so they had to go somewhere eventually. And as we know, there was an exodus during COVID. All the investors left Victoria, and eventually they came back in, and we were fortunate enough, in one hand, to get that. So they flooded back into regional Victoria, and Mildura topped that demand.
Will prices continue to rise?
This is where the inconsistency comes into it. So if you were to look at a graph and say, what did prices rise? You might see a number that might say, 5, 10, 15% or something like maybe 8%, right? That's not what happened. So between 300 and 630, the growth was extraordinary. We are talking well north of 20%. Some areas, some pockets grew 30, 40% in a year. Phenomenal, right? Once you get above that, $700,000, $800,000, $1 million, the growth was 4, 5, 6%. So it was this very tight segment that grew north of 20%, which is amazing, right? But it was only this segment, not the rest of the market. So what we anticipate going forward is there has to be more of a balance now, we think. So does it mean that the $700,000 prices have to move to catch up, or does the 600 and below stagnate for a while? And we think that might be the case. Maybe there's a little bit of a pause while everything else breathes and catches up and a return to normalcy. So sit tight, watch this space. We have a lot of unusual circumstances in the world right now, so we'll see.
And of course, you touched on it before, $1 million price tags.
Yeah.
I can remember when that would be unheard of in Mildura. Now, of course, I look in the real estate guide or online, and there are quite a few properties that break the $1 million barrier in Mildura.
Yeah. Do you remember, if you remember, go back, it was $1 million property, was either a farm for starters or had water views, right? And now, $2 million will not guarantee you water views anymore. So it's extraordinary the change that's happened and how rapidly, and you know, even someone as busy as I am in the game and who studies this every single day was shocked at you get surprised at how fast it can move when you're not ready for it. And I think most sellers were at the same time as well. No one was prepared for this influx of demand that we had.
And just lastly, of course, you don't just sell residential, you go into all sorts of properties.
Yeah.
You know, we call them blocks or whatever,
Yeah.
but what's happening in that sort of space?
That's not a good news story, unfortunately, at the moment, yeah. So the farmers have had it pretty rough, and I'm talking about horticultural land here. I've had it pretty rough since COVID. So during that, there was pressure on the cost, essentially, on wages and, you know, cost of getting the fruit off. So that labour cost essentially blew through the roof, and there was demand as well that softened. So they are struggling a bit, and because of that, farm sales are also harder than what they were as well. We probably saw the peak for certain farms maybe 5 years ago, something like that. So again, it's just cyclic. You know, it'll come back. It always does. Everything's cyclical. So we could be another couple of years and be in a boom. But then, as usual, everyone will buy in the boom when they probably shouldn't, as opposed to now when there's opportunity around.
Well, Damien, thanks so much for your time today. It's been great to catch up.
No worries.
The Hospital Foundation's new screening truck was at the Sunraysia Farmers and Makers Market last Saturday, and there was great interest in its visit. John Dooley reports.
Last Saturday, the Mildura Base Public Hospital Foundation screening truck visited the Sunraysia Farmers and Makers Markets at JC Park. There was great interest from the public who took the opportunity to climb on board the truck. Hospital CEO Terry Welch hosted the event and introduced MBPH board member Mary Rydberg.
This has been an amazing project. The board certainly push us very hard to think about things we can do differently to do things for our community. So Mary, we might ask you to do a very short welcome and then a couple of messages from the board.
Thanks, Terry, and it is great to be here this morning. The foundation is a magnificent support for the hospital and for the community. They have been instrumental in not only the truck that's sitting behind us, but they were certainly initially involved in the funding of our clinical research unit, which now supports our local community members to be able to enter cancer trials and to remain at home. This truck means that we have local rural people that aren't able to make it till Mildura, but now we can take the services to them. These are our major achievements for our community, and I just can't thank both the foundation and certainly the staff of the hospital for ensuring that these initiatives happen. So thank you for being here this morning.
Welcome to the opening of our Mildura Base Public Hospital Foundation multi-purpose screening truck, the first of its kind anywhere in Australia. And I want to welcome a few people today, starting with Ann Webster, of course our local member. And the reason I want to mention Ann right up front is because 3.5 years ago Ann mentioned, do you know about these 3D skin imaging technologies that are out? And at that time we didn't. And from there we've been able to progress to where we are today, and we've been able to walk Ann through this morning, and I know she's completely amazed with what we've been able to achieve. So thank you, Ann, for that message 3 years ago, because it started this conversation today.
I remember 3 years ago having a conversation with Terry about how important it is that our regional and remote communities can access tests, healthcare, when it's so difficult. We know it's difficult for people to get GP appointments, let alone to get those scans or breast screens or, you know, cardiac checks. So this truck represents all of those, and the fact that it'll go out to our remote towns, our smaller towns, is very exciting.
Mr. Welch detailed the features of the screening vehicle, which includes skin, cardiac and breast screening examinations.
We then have the high-level cardiac and health check in the middle, and of course the critical piece of equipment as well is a mammogram machine from Siemens, which is now in partnership with Breast Screen Victoria. We are the Breast Screen Victoria truck for this region.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the foundation and our sponsors for the great work they've done. Also like to thank management. This project was designed from the ground up, so they've done a management job, a fantastic job bringing this all together. And as Mary's just alluded to now, this is all about the community and bringing benefits, health benefits to the community in the Mallee region, and we won't even go further. So thank you to all, and we hope that the community use this services available to them.
This is not the end, I hope. It's the beginning of a big project for the foundation. You know, it's marvellous what can happen when everyone says yes, when the board says yes, and the board of the foundation says yes, and the senior management at the hospital say yes, I think we can do this. And someone comes up with the idea and it gets followed through. It often takes 12, 18 months to bring something to fruition, but right behind us today is that idea in real form. So I hope the foundation can continue to support the community and bring forward projects that benefit the whole of the region. You know, it's always exciting when something comes off, and when a project as big as this one comes off, it gives you even more pleasure about the power of community and the power of people saying yes. So make use of it, tell people about it, and please reward the foundation for its efforts.
This truck would not have been built without these ladies. I can tell you that honestly. So we've got little Helen, who I met this morning, Maria and Helen, but thank you so much for your generosity and goodwill and trust in us to build the truck. It was an amazing partnership, and I know you're so proud of being on the truck, and we're so proud of what you gave us. So thank you very much.
When we sold the Greek Hall, we wanted it to go to community, things that the whole community could benefit from. So one of the things we wanted to donate to was the hospital, and anything the hospital thought was the best thing that they could benefit the community to, and the foundation was one of them. So when we heard about the truck, we were very excited, because it's not only going to benefit the local Mildura community, but of course the Mallee and everyone else who gets the benefit from it. One of the things, as we all know, the farmers do it very tough. And I doubt it if very many farmers go and get a skin check or have the time to do these things. So hopefully this truck will help that, and we're very proud as a Greek community to have donated whatever we donated at the time.
I love the fact that we are bringing the city options. You know, you live in the city and you've got so many options, doctors, hospitals, specialists, and those kinds of stuff, and we are now bringing that gap and shrinking that gap. I would not exchange living in the city. I love the community of Mildura to Sunraysia and the wider community. So this is what's allowing us to live our life the way we want to live it, and not have the medical gap and not the issues that normally the community suffers from, because we don't have access to. So you bring the access to the people, which is absolutely fantastic.
3 years ago, this was a concept. It was on paper, hadn't been done before, and we needed people to trust us and come on the journey. And one of the first companies to do that was Sunbeam Foods. And I'm delighted that Peter Bowman's here with us today, who's the operations director. Pete, come up and say a few words, because it took trust and effort back then to think about what this truck was going to be. So every lunchbox needs sultanas in it, and of course they must be from Sunbeam. But Pete, great to have you here today, and a few words. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. On behalf of Sunbeam, Sunbeam is celebrating its 100th year anniversary this year. We've been involved in the local Sunraysia community, particularly our growing community, for that period of time. So with Sunbeam, Mildura Fruit Company and Mildura Fruit Juices, we are absolutely delighted to be partners in this venture. Such an important initiative that we're very happy to support. The good thing for us is this truck is, through the loop that this truck will do, it's going to cover our whole growing community between the three companies, so as well as our employees. So Terry, fantastic, and we will be involved in any way that we can in the future.
After being on the road for just 3 weeks, the screening vehicle has already garnered great interest and growing awareness in our region, and the best days are ahead. John Dooley, Sun City News.
Anzac Day is being commemorated in a special way by one former ADF member who is walking from Red Cliffs to the Werribee Cenotaph for the dawn service on Saturday morning.
This Saturday, April 25, commemorates the 112th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings during the First World War. Anzac Day is one of the most significant days of commemoration for Australians. providing the opportunity to honour the service and sacrifice of more than 2 million Australians who have served our nation in times of war and peace. It is also a time to honour the more than 103,000 personnel who have lost their lives during or as a result of their service. In honour of those who made the supreme sacrifice in the service of their country, former ADF member Kevin Wager is walking 100 kilometres, virtually the same distance as the Kokoda track, from the Redcliffe Cenotaph via Car Warp to the Werribee Cenotaph, arriving in time for the dawn service on Saturday morning. Kevin served overseas in Army Communications in the Western Sahara in support of the UN mission MINURSO. Sun City caught up with Kevin ahead of his walk.
It originally started off as a goal I set for myself personally after Anzac Day last year. Used it as a bit of an impetus to lose some weight and get fit. I managed to do that. I'm in a position now where 12 months later I can actually fulfill the goal that I set. I did it purely as a goal being set for myself, and yeah, it's grown a few legs of its own, and yeah, we find ourselves now sort of with a bit more attention than I first initially anticipated.
Godspeed, Kevin. John Dooley, Sun City News.
Sun City News will have coverage of Anzac Day in Mildura in our news next week. In a wide-ranging interview, Sun City News sat down with member for Mallee, Dr. Anne Webster, to discuss some current issues affecting the community.
And lovely to see you again, and thanks for making time for Sun City News to have a chat with you. A lot of things happening at the moment. Mildura seems to have no shortage of fuel, even diesel, but of course we know there have been shortages, but the costs are just going up and up and up for farmers.
The cost is something that's going to hopefully even out over time, but at the moment, yeah, the cost is very high. And in terms of supply, it is, I think the best that we can say, John, is that this is a state of flux. The Iran war is by no means over, and ships are not sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's a matter of waiting to see how this goes. And in terms of trusting whether it will settle down, you hear Iran declare internationally one state of affairs, and then you have Trump state another state of affairs from his point of view. What do you believe? I don't know. So I think we'll continue to, if you like, roll with the punches at the moment. I note that the Prime Minister has been overseas, of course, visiting multiple of our Asian suppliers, wanting to ensure that things are as they should be. He says he's gained 1 million litres of diesel. That's great. That's one day's supply. Who knows how much jet fuel he used in the process of going to those particular countries. And the fact is that we are a little bit like farmers, price takers. We don't make this largely, and therefore we are at the mercy of international shipping, international suppliers. Largely, we have 2 refineries. Of course, one has had an issue with a huge fire in its petrol part of the plant last weekend, and what that will mean in terms of ramping up to their normal 20% of Australia's supply and 50% of Victoria's supply. I guess we'll wait and see really how that goes. I've spoken with distributors locally. At the moment, you know, fuel is flowing. That's why we don't have Bowsers with, sorry, not today, on them. And it's a matter of really just seeing how this all plays out. The last month's bills for farmers who stocked up, concerned about cropping, concerned about actually being able to seed and then to harvest, those worries will continue. And you can't blame farmers for wanting to ensure that they've got enough diesel on their property to get their crops out and seed them. So, look, I think we're, at the moment, things are relatively stable. I noticed that the price has come down about 26 cents, which is what the rebate was supposed to do. It's only for 3 months, so a lot can change.
Don't go away. The second part of Dr. Webster's interview continues after this short break, and also coming up, a look at the local fuel prices and our News in Brief segment.
Sun City Streaming thanks our wonderful sponsors for their generous support for our community YouTube channel and Sun City local news. Tasco Inland Petroleum, Ray White Mildura, Chemist Warehouse Mildura, and Fisher Developments.
You know, when you're selling your home, most people focus on price, but the method of sale, that's the ingredient too many overlook. And just like every dish needs a different recipe, every property needs the right approach. Auctions create energy and competition, driving urgency and strong outcomes in the right market. Private sales offer flexibility and control, ideal for certain homes or when more time is needed. And fixed date sales, they build momentum with a clear deadline, giving buyers structure and motivation to act. Each method serves a purpose. In the end, it's the right method that brings it all together.
Join us every Thursday night for the Footy Super Show. I'm Will Callow, your host, and my co-host, Sam Kerridge. Get amongst it. Come and listen to us talk all things local football, netball, and we might even have a few break sessions about how good I was and how good you still are, Sam.
Or how good I used to be. Certainly washed up now, but no, very excited. Looking forward to providing you guys with everything SFNL football, netball, and hopefully taking a few laughs and taking the mickey out of a few people along the way.
This is Sun City Local News with Caitlyn Morgan.
Welcome back to Sun City News. Well, motorists in Mildura have enjoyed a slight easing of prices at the Bowser this week, and Sun City News was out and about to see firsthand where things are at.
Recent developments indicate that regional fuel prices are easing in Australia due to government interventions aimed at stabilising the fuel market. The Australian government has halved the fuel excise on petrol and diesel for 3 months, which has seen a reduction in prices by around 32 cents per litre. As a result, national petrol prices have dropped more than 30 cents per litre in Mildura since the excise cut took effect, with retail prices now hovering around $1.98 to $2.20 per litre. The government has also released 20% of domestic fuel reserves to support supply, particularly in regional areas experiencing shortages. Motorists in Mildura have seen a further easing in prices at the Bowser in recent days, with one outlet selling it as low as $1.89 per litre on Wednesday. But filling up the tank is still putting strain on people's hip pocket.
We've come down from Queensland to work down here and it's just been horrific along the way.
Oh, it's $2.89, so you never know when you come in. Yeah, my husband's lucky, he's got unleaded. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I drive a lot, so it's going down a bit, but yeah, it's been pretty bad. It is a concern, and I don't think we'll get over it soon.
Customers were pretty upset with the increase in the fuel price, but unfortunately it's nothing in our hands. So because of the war thing is going on, our suppliers are giving it higher prices. Unfortunately, we had to sell at these high prices. Because of the fuel increase, our sales has gone really low. Because everyone is getting affected with this fuel increase. Even our business get really affected with this. There's no business at all.
Let's hope Donald Trump sorts out the war in Iran and gets the Strait of Hormuz open so that fuel supplies can soon flow freely again. John Dooley, Sun City News.
Let's hope those fuel prices continue to drop. And speaking of prices dropping, this week some low airfares were on offer for people in our region, as you'll hear in our news in brief. The Qantas Redtail sale is now live, offering discounted fares on selected routes, including services to and from Mildura, with one-way economy fares starting from $99 and travel available across the June long weekend and winter school holidays. This sale presents a timely opportunity for local businesses. For visitor-facing businesses, the sale provides added incentive for travellers to choose Mildura for short breaks or holidays. A Sunraysia Residential Services Specialist Disability Accommodation Project, delivered in partnership with Garraway Developments, has been named a national finalist at the 2026 HIA Australian Housing Awards, placing Mildura on this national stage for inclusive housing design. Held earlier this month on the Gold Coast, the HIA Australian Housing Awards celebrate excellence in residential building and design, recognising outstanding achievements across 24 specialist categories nationwide. Garraway Developments was one of just 9 national finalists in the specialised housing category for its delivery of 2 custom-built SDA homes in central Mildura. Mildura Waste and Recycling, a 100% locally owned and operated business, has announced that they have purchased the document destruction service previously operated by the Christie Centre. A company spokesperson said, "We are excited to be continuing this important service for our local community and are committed to ensuring a smooth and seamless transition for all customers." The change of ownership comes into effect on May 1. Mildura District Orchestra presents Earth and Beyond at the Mildura Arts Centre Saturday, May 9. Billed as an exciting and engaging exploration of Earth and space through beautiful music, Earth and Beyond will showcase a broad range of Earth and space themed music. Classical favourites such as Holst's Mars and Jupiter will be featured, as well as modern hits such as Doctor Who, Star Wars and the theme from E.T., and a selection of locally composed pieces will also be performed. There are 2 performances, a 2 p.m. matinee and a 7 p.m. evening show. Tickets are available from milduraartscentre.com.au. Those cheap airfares from Qantas look like a great deal. And now, John Dooley's interview with Anne Webster continues.
Yeah, well, it's a huge wake-up call, and let's hope people are listening and we get on with that, big job of making sure we are not self-sufficient, but, immune to a major shock should we have another dispute with the South China Sea, who knows. Of course, the USA, Donald Trump, he doesn't have to worry. They are self-sufficient. He's got an enormous amount of fuel now that comes from Venezuela. So it's not really an issue for him. He just wants to deal with this rogue regime, and I think he's about to do that.
Yeah, look, I think we'll certainly wait and see what he chooses to do today, because it seems to be a daily. We'll see how the weather's going. I don't know what is motivating him entirely, but I think there is cause to reflect on Australia actually being able to be self-sufficient. We had Santos have a choice between Australia and Alaska in terms of developing or drilling for oil. Australia made it so difficult, and the lawfare around from the Greens and the EDO meant that they chose Alaska because it was cheaper for them to do that. So Australia doesn't have that investment happening, and something has to change if the Labor government is going to ensure that Australia can become self-sufficient again. They've got to deal with the Environmental Defenders Office and all those who align with that group.
And could just quickly touch on the other thing that's affecting farmers, and that is the availability of urea to make fertiliser. I'm not quite sure is urea itself a fertiliser, or it goes into the production of it, but it's a key issue that's affecting our farmers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Australia, during the COVID period, the Morrison government invested to keep urea being developed and manufactured in Australia. That plant became too old and it had to die, effectively, go offline. And so the coalition committed to Perdaman in Western Australia as a very large $6 billion plant. That is in process of developing, should open by June 2027. So from there on, we should be able to supply 90% of Australia's need for urea. But we've also got sulphur and sulphuric acid, both which are used in farming recently. In this last week, we've noted that that also has become an unstable source. So, there's a lot of moving parts here, but the bottom line is it's all fossil fuel. It is all based on fossil fuel, and the petrochemical needs of our nation, whether it's for hospital gowns and plastic gloves and medicines, like we need fossil fuels. For all those who think we can just grow trees and live in a humpy, go for it. I'm sure there's plenty of space in Australia to do that. But for those who live in the real world, we need our fossil fuels, and we ought to be digging them for Australia's use, not just for the export market.
And Webster, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to have a chat with you on Sun City News.
Thank you, John.
Coming up next, my look at the weather this week and what's in store for us ahead.
Sun City Streaming thanks our wonderful sponsors for their generous support for our community YouTube channel and Sun City Local News. Tasco Inland Petroleum, Ray White Mildura, Chemist Warehouse Mildura, and Fisher Developments.
When you're selling your home, most people focus on price, but the method of sale, that's the ingredient too many overlook. And just like every dish needs a different recipe, every property needs the right approach. Auctions create energy and competition, driving urgency and strong outcomes in the right market. Private sales offer flexibility and control, ideal for certain homes or when more time is needed. And fixed date sales, they build momentum with a clear deadline, giving buyers structure and motivation to act. Each method serves a purpose. In the end, it's the right method that brings it all together.
Join us every Thursday night for the Footy Super Show. I'm Will Callow, your host, and my co-host,
Sam Kerridge.
Get amongst it. Come and listen to us talk all things local football, netball, and we might even have a few break sessions about how good I was and how good you still are, Sam.
Oh, how good I used to be. Certainly watched up now, but very excited. Looking forward to providing you guys with everything SFNL football, netball, and hopefully taking a few laughs and taking the mickey out of a few people along the way.
This is Sun City Local News with Caitlyn Morgan.
We're certainly being spoilt with the beautiful autumn weather being enjoyed in Sunraysia, with mild overnight lows of 13 to 16 degrees up to a perfect 28 degrees during the day as conditions remain dry. Looking at the week ahead, Sunday will see a drop in temperature with a low of 7 to start the day, reaching a maximum of 20 degrees. Throughout the week, temperatures will continue to be cooler and there is a chance of rain on Monday. Wednesday we'll see a top of 22 and we'll reach a maximum of 23 on Saturday. Well, I hope you enjoy the week ahead. And we leave you today with some highlights from the Foundation Screenings vehicle visit to the Sunraysia Farmers and Makers Market last Saturday. I'm Caitlyn Morgan. Bye for now.
I will say from Brad Johnson.
Sun City.
Sun City Streaming thanks our wonderful sponsors for their generous support for our community YouTube channel and Sun City local news. Tesco Inland Petroleum, Ray White Mildura, Chemist Warehouse Mildura, and Fisher Developments.